Evelyn's on the line with us. Good morning, Evelyn.
What do you need to pollinize tomato plants?
Well, an artist's paintbrush. Now, I say that with a laugh, but if I were to try to do that, and I don't know how the breeders do it, but at the same time, when that flower opens, you're going to get a full, mature sexual entity. And if you were to take literally a camel's hair brush, it doesn't have to be very big at all, and twizzle it into one flower on, let's just say, a kind of tomato, and then go to the next one, whether it's the same kind or not, you would probably get pollination from the pollen you've picked up from one plant on that artist's hair brush, and then over onto the plant to be pollinated. So that I would tell you. Now, I'm not sure that I've ever thought it was necessary to pollinate a tomato. If they're growing well and kept, I call it uniformly watered, so they're not wet and dry type of thing, I just don't see why you'd have to do that. But that would be my answer as to how to do it.
Okay, I have another question.
Okay.
I have a beautiful tomato stalk. It has flowering buds on it. The buds dry up and fall off. Now, what would cause that?
Well, now, I'm going to suspect a disease, first off, because you would be able to see if it was an insect of some kind. You'd have to look a little careful, maybe under the bottom of the leaves and so on. But I'm going to rule out insects at this point and think that maybe it is a disease. Pollen, again, speaking of pollen, the part of a disease organism is in the air at all times, and it's probably already been, so to speak, pollinated. When it lands on a tomato that is susceptible to that disease, and we get a late evening rain or a lot of dew overnight for several days in a row, the chances are that the disease can take off and get into let's just call it a problem for you. Now, I don't deal with the details on the insecticides and pesticides anymore, but I'm quite comfortable that you could put a preventive fungicide on that plant that would help keep a coating on the little buds or, little balls, little fruit, and help them come on along. Now, I also suspect then maybe that the plants are running too wet or too dry. That would be somewhat dependent on the disease factors, but I know that tomatoes are just kind of a fussy grower. I've never experienced personally what you're describing, but I know that they're really fussy, and I know that to the extent that if I mulch it in the garden at all, it would be the tomatoes, so that I can keep the water level, or temperature and water in the soil at a kind of a uniform circumstance, so that they don't have the big changes all the time.